He's dealing with some.
I know somebody accused that his mom was sick.
Mother sick or something like that.
Yeah.
We're live.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right, B.
1, 2, 1, 2. In the place to be. That's my MC voice. In the place to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the best 2 hours of your sports week. Welcome to another edition of Dead End Sports. I'm your host, 12 Kyle. We want to thank you for tuning in as you do each and every Tuesday night. You can catch us right here, Dead End Sports. Go to youtube.com/Dead End Sports. Hit the little subscribe button right over there in the corner. And you can be privy to our videos as well as any other content that we have. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you follow us on all the socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us individually. Follow us at Dead End Sports. Follow us collectively as a unit. A lot of stuff to talk about. We'll not be doing this show alone. I got the homies in here with me. My man, Kim, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. Just looking at the score, seeing the Cleveland Indians are up 2-0 on the Chicago Cubs.
True.
Man, Cleveland, they have some really good pitching. Well, Clubber's good, and I think Carrasco. But yeah, they have good pitching. They have a good bullpen, so that's going to be a pretty intense series. Lester is on the mound tonight, who's been lights out in the playoffs, but he's given up 2 runs already. So I think maybe nerves kind of kicked in and took over with him. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch and see how they play out. It's kind of crazy, man, just to think that the Cubs or the Cleveland Indians are going to win the World Series. And I'm pulling for the Cubs. I hope they win, but I don't think baseball would lose either way.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if Cleveland won a World Series? A championship right after the Cavaliers, man.
They'd be the city of champions.
That's insane. Well, they still have the Browns. Yeah.
This is true. This is so true. Also joining us, my homie Beezy. 430 Beezy, what up, though?
What up? Shit, man.
Hey, man, the
the
time is here, man. We got basketball, we got football, we got baseball. What more could you ask? And hockey if you watch hockey.
Yeah, it's like this is the point. The next week where you have all sports going on at the same time. So that's all the major sports is going on at the same time.
Yes, sir. So if you're watching us live, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on. The NBA tips off tonight. So tonight primarily is going to be our NBA preview. We will begin by talking a little baseball as well as NFL college football as well. But we're going to touch on that briefly. Tonight's show primarily is the NBA preview. Like I said, we want to thank you all for tuning in. As you all know, the homie FIFO is on the way. So, man, let's start right there. Like I said, we got 2 hours to get it in. Kim mentioned the World Series. Let's just start right there, man. Predictions for the World Series. B, who do you think is going to win the World Series and in how many games?
I got Cubs in 6.
Okay.
Indians missing. One of their pitchers is injured. Man, Ken, what's his name?
It's either Salazar, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I think in MLB postseason, you got to have your pitching intact. You got to. So if you got some injured guys, I don't know how many next men up that they have. But and there's one. I think it's one of their starters too. So
yeah,
man, that's crucial. So I think that's why I'm slightly giving it to the Cubs to win, take it in 6. I can see them.
Well, actually, I take that back. Francona said that Salazar actually could pitch.
Could pitch though.
Yeah, he hasn't pitched since September 9th, though.
Yeah.
Since September 9th.
Yeah, that's iffy as a pitcher. Going into a World Series. So it's not like he got a couple of series to warm up before that. So that's asking a lot. So I don't know. I'll give it to the Cubs though.
Okay. What about you, Ken?
Man, my heart is with the Cubs. I really want them to win the World Series, man. I was so excited when I found out and saw that they actually went to the World Series, man. Like, and like if you guys really think about this, right? The last time the Cubs went to the World Series was what, 1945, something like that?
Yeah. None of us were around.
1945 was last time they went, and 1908 was last time they won.
Think about how race was back then. And I think I saw somebody tweet this out that Dexter Fowler would be the first black person for Chicago, because I think there was a black person on the team, but he couldn't play or something like that. I apologize, I didn't read the full story, but I just kind of saw that tweet, and I thought that was really interesting. Like, it's been that long that back when they went to the World Series, Negroes can play.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that shows how long it's been if you look at like how far we've come just in society. I know we still have some things to clean up, but we've come a long way.
Yeah.
And even just with technology, the world as a whole, that was the last time they went to the World Series when, you know, the world was basically not so good for us. So that's kind of crazy. I have a feel. I think the Cubs will win. I'm gonna go ahead and say I think the Cubs will win. I'm looking at the matchups here, and my computer's, for whatever reason, is freezing on me. So I see Clubbers going tonight, so that's more than likely going to be a win for Cleveland. Even though the Cubs have, they can hit, they can score, and we saw that last series. But the next two games are the ones that they can win, because Trevor Bauer has been up or down. He could be either lights out or he can be a little shaky. You just never know what you're going to get with him. He's more or less a strikeout pitcher, so if he's on, he's on.
Right.
Josh Tomlin started out winning like his first 7 or 9 games this year, and then he had this rough patch where he can win a game. He pitched terrible, so I think the Cubs can win those two and go up 2-1. And really, we all know this. You just want to get a split and then take care of business. So if they can somehow manage to win tonight, and if they can win the next two, if they lose tonight, I like their chances. They got their young catcher back, Kyle Schwarber. He's back. I don't know how effective he'll be, but they lost him earlier in the season to an injury. And, you know, of course, they have a great starting pitching as well. I didn't like the fact that they started Lester in game one off the high that he had, just a while back in the last series. But look, Joe Madden's the manager. I'm just sitting here talking about the game, right? So he knows what he's doing. And I'm sure he's just setting up his rotation. So I got the Cubs. I think they'll win the next two. I think I like 6. I like 6 would be. I like Cubs, and 6 would be.
Yeah, I say the same, man. I think the Cubs win in 6. I think it's going to be a really, really compelling series. I think one of the things that the downside, if you will, of interleague play is that, teams get a chance to see each other and get a chance to scout each other a little bit more, because they do have play. Keep in mind that the Indians do have home field because the American League won the All-Star game. But I like the Cubs, man. I think baseball wins either way to some degree, because you have these two teams that have been long-suffering fan bases. I don't necessarily buy into the theory as far as what people were saying about the Cubs. As far as granted, there are some very long-suffering fans, but let's just keep it real. Most of us, the last time the Cubs won, none of us were around, so it doesn't really carry that much weight in that aspect. But for those diehard Cubs fans, generations and generations of people who, they're the lovable losers. And so I would like to probably – it's hard for me to necessarily root for a team per se because I'm a Yankees fan. And, we've got 28 titles, so it doesn't really matter. But no shade to anybody else who's not a Yankees fan. But, yeah, man, I'd like to see the Cubs win it. I'd like to see the Cubs win. I think it's going to be – I think one of the things, particularly, and I mentioned this last week, when it comes to baseball, man, if you don't follow baseball, you want to watch the World Series, if for no other reason, because every pitch counts. Every inning counts. Every man that's left on base counts. So trust me when I tell you, when you can make just the slightest an error, simple mistakes, base running mistakes, that stuff adds up. So I think the game within the game, the chess match between managers is always great for me to see. So I look forward to that. So I got Cubs in 6, bringing this championship to the city of Chicago. And joining us is our homeboy, FIFO. FIFO, what's going on, player?
Yo, what it do?
Chilling, man. We were just getting started talking a little baseball. We're just doing our predictions right now. If you had to give your prediction, who do you think is going to win the World Series and in how many games?
Taking up the home team.
Okay.
I'll go 6 or 7. It's a championship. That's what you always want to see.
No doubt. So there you have it. So it's a clean sweep for us, man. We all have the Cubs. Obviously, as you know, if many of you watching, the game is going on. If you're watching this live, the game is going on right now. We'll update you periodically throughout the night as far as scores are concerned. But we want to thank you all for watching us, because you could be watching the game or watching the NBA. So and the NBA tips off tonight as well. As I mentioned, we're going to talk briefly, real quick, about the NFL and college, what we liked from this past weekend, and then we'll jump into our NBA preview. So let's start right there. B430. This past weekend in college football and NFL, man, what stood out to you? Either or both.
As a Michigan born and raised native, it was so satisfying to see Ohio State lose to Penn State. That was so satisfying. Oh, it was
really deep.
Yes, really. It was satisfying seeing Ohio State take that L. You know what I'm saying? At the time, 9-ranked Penn State, who are now ranked 24.
That broke my heart.
You said what?
I said that broke my heart, man.
What, Ohio State lost?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to be from Michigan to.
I know.
Is Washington Huskies the real deal?
Nope.
That's what I'm saying. Are they the real deal? Like, you see them rank at number 4. Are they just living in the advantage of because the Pac-12 is pretty down. It's been down for the past 2 or 3 seasons. So, are they just benefiting off of being out there in the Pac-12, or are they the real deal? So that just goes to say. NFL, give me 1 second. Just like him, my stuff freezing up as well. I think NFL, I hate to say this, Kyle, but I think we might see a glimpse of why you can't and shout out to people. I know people here, but yeah, why you can't trust Atlanta teams, man.
Right.
Games like this, you're supposed to win. Like, I think as at home, on paper, Atlanta wasn't supposed to lose this game to a banged up, shortened Chargers squad. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this is why you can never trust Atlanta teams, man. Never trust them. So, and what else? And yeah, that Seattle and Arizona, man, them field goals, them chip shots that both Arizona and Seattle missed.
Oh my God.
It's bad. You have to make your job is to kick the ball. You got to make those. It wasn't like they were 55 yarders. You know what I'm saying? Both of these field goal attempts was fairly close, and you could have won the game with either one of them. So, that was bad for the kickers, man. It made the game just seem so lackluster with those 2 missed field goal kicks that we couldn't even decide a winner out of this game. And I don't know about NFL, man. I don't know if they need to do something. Well, I guess they can keep it that way, but I think they change up the overtime rules in the playoffs where you have to have a winner.
Yeah, you have to have a winner in
I don't know.
playoffs.
I think maybe you could probably do that in the regular season as well. I think you can at least have a winner, but I understand the tie aspect of it. Just kind of make things more interesting when you have a team with a tie. But let's not get no ties. Let's get the wins. You know what I'm saying? Let's get wins. NBA, you play however many overtimes it is until you get a W, and I think they can do that, man. For NFL, yeah, I think they do a tie in NHL as well, but except for in playoffs. But if you can decide a winner in the playoffs, why not just do it for the regular season, man? Just let them boys keep playing until someone say uncle. And then there you go. You got your winner. So, yeah, that's what I noticed, man. The horrible kicking from the Seattle and Arizona game, which I knew that was going to be a defensive game. And Washington, are they for real? And I love the fact that Ohio State lost. So that's my takeaways for this weekend of football.
Okay. What about you, FIFO? What stood out to you this past week in the NFL and or college football?
B, you got to get it right if we're going to use it. It's Georgia teams, not just the entire state of Georgia, bro. I don't know what's up. It was so funny watching that game. I was telling a couple of my coworkers, I'm like, look, if the Falcons are for real, we're supposed to blow out San Diego.
Yep.
During the game. When they were up, what was it, like 27-10 or 17 or 16 or something like that, I was like, this is where we got to put our foot on their neck. We need to blow them out. We need to score 40, almost 50 points on them and keep them under 20-some points, under 30. What happened? They lost in overtime. You cannot trust Georgia teams. I don't know why. But also, I was surprised at that Cardinals-Seattle game. I wasn't surprised that it was a defensive battle. I wasn't surprised that it was low scoring. I was surprised at their kicking woes. I didn't know it was that bad, especially for Arizona. Seattle hasn't had, a whole bunch of kicking problems, but Arizona, man, that's crazy. And for their kicker to, I think the first 2 years in the league, he averaged like 80 and 90% kicking, and then this year is just like what's going on, So obviously he's in his head, and man, both of those teams just don't look like the teams we expected to see.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest takeaway regarding that game there. And for Seattle, it's a little bit more simple, the answer. Russell Wilson is definitely not 100%. He can't do what makes them special. But he's good enough, and it just shows the reason why he needs some offensive help. Jimmy Graham is here and there, but he's not consistent. But yeah, man, that was the main thing. Ohio State losing as well. I'm not gonna go too deep on that, but yeah, man, the damn Falcons, man. I don't know what's up with that. I really don't.
No doubt. What about you, Ken? What stood out to you as far as college football and the NFL?
Well, B already touched on Ohio State losing. I hate that they lost. Y'all know I'm a big fan. I still think they have a shot. Michigan actually have a couple of tough games coming up on their schedule against. They got to actually see Ohio State themselves, and they play Michigan State this year. Even though that's always or has been historically a pretty decent game. Even though Michigan State isn't playing as good as they have in the past. But it's still one you kind of want to tune in and watch just because of the in-state rivalry. But so yeah, that was a little shocking to me to see them lose in the manner that they did, and to not be able to pull it off because their offensive line can block Penn State on that last possession, and it was just I just couldn't believe it. And Barrett was a little tentative to run. I don't think Washington is for real, so I think they still have a shot. But I prefer to see Louisville in the college playoff. I mean, Lamar Jackson is still lighting people up. He just destroyed NC State, the same NC State, if you guys recall, that went toe-to-toe and actually had Clemson beat the same Clemson team that beat him. So I don't know what that says about Clemson or what that says about Louisville, but I'll let you decide on that. But I'm seeing people talk up Jake Browning as he's a Heisman candidate, but this thing, unless Lamar Jackson gets hurt, there's no way that anyone else should win this unless they just have a spectacular finish. If Lamar Jackson continues on this pace, he should win the Heisman Trophy because he's unstoppable. He nobody can stop him, man. And that guy in Alabama, Jalen Hurns, I think Alabama can get got, man, because for a while they were in that game, Texas A&M, and they just fumbled it away literally in the second half. But they had a formula on stopping him, and Jalen Hurns cannot throw the ball deep. He isn't accurate, so I think he go up against the right matchup. Alabama can get got. So I'm watching him, and he's electrifying, but he's no Lamar Jackson. Looking at Deshaun Watson, we all know he's having a down year, and here are other Heisman candidate, Donnell Pumphrey out of San Diego State, and I'm not really on the Jabril Peppers bandwagon.
He's cold. He is so cold.
Okay. But yeah, man, I think Lamar Jackson should be the clear candidate, but I do think that Ohio State definitely has a shot to get back in it. And I think if you had to decide between Ohio State and Washington, who would you pick? Seriously.
Ohio State.
Or Washington and Louisville. I think that may be a little bit closer for some people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. Now in the NFL, the biggest thing that stood out to me is the way that the Patriots struggled with the Pittsburgh Steelers. A game that one could argue if they had Big Ben, they probably could have won or would have won that game. If was fifth, you guys know the cliche. But they played him tough. And I think the way the NFL is sometimes we just get caught up in the moment. And Brady was just destroying teams, but they were not good teams. And he went up against a better team, and he kind of came back down to earth. The Steelers' run defense was poor, so they managed to just kind of really run all over them. But nevertheless, Brady had to work to earn that win a little bit more than people probably thought he would have. So I thought that was interesting. Because a lot of people probably thought that they were just going to run away with the title, the Super Bowl this year, but we may need to pump our brakes on that a little bit. Everybody else touched on good things, so I don't really need to get into that. But yeah, it was just something that game between the Steelers and the Patriots kind of stood out to me. But the rest of their schedule, I mean, they should just blow through the AFC. But I wonder when they get into playoffs and have to play tougher teams, what could potentially happen there, especially and get pressure on Brady.
Yeah, I agree. I think not necessarily Brady and the Patriots' best performance. What stood out to me was something that happened today that probably should have happened. Well, I'm not going to say probably. It should have happened like 6 days ago. The Giants finally cut bait with kicker Chris Brown.
Josh Brown.
Where is Chris Brown from? Josh Brown.
Chris Brown beat up women too. I understand how you can get that mixed up. It totally makes sense.
It's not a laughing matter, but that's funny, Ken. Josh Brown. The Giants finally cut bait with Josh Brown. I'm very disappointed in the Giants and how they handled this. The Giants really. And we talked about it when we got word that Brown would be serving a one-game suspension this summer. We talked about the hypocrisy of it. And I think it's even more mind-boggling that you have a league that, has a problem. And again, regardless of what you think about Colin Kaepernick, and I'm going to bring Kaepernick back into this. Regardless of what you think about Kaepernick's stance or his decision to take a knee during the national anthem, you have fans, you have owners, more importantly, you have owners that are beyond upset with this notion of taking a stance during the national anthem. But here it is, we have a kicker who, if the word does not get out and these papers do not get leaked that this information that the NFL mysteriously was not able to put their hands on. If this doesn't get out, Brown's still kicking for the Giants this week. He still has a job. And oh, by the way, although he was cut by the Giants, he will still receive his $2 million paycheck. So, he's still on this commissioner's list. And we still don't, for all we know, the commissioner's list is B16 from Scandal. I don't know. But I'm very disappointed in how the NFL has handled this. The NFL prides itself, or at least they tell you that they pride themselves on being concerned by women. They don't care. Every October Sunday, you'll see players dressed in pink, and they make this notion that the NFL cares about women. They don't care. Let's just put that to the side. So I'm very disappointed that the Giants waited this long to cut bait with Josh Brown, not Chris Brown. And I don't like the way it was handled. I think it was, again, you have a league where people have a huge problem with Colin Kaepernick's stance, but they seem to be okay with this guy beating up his wife. And he released a statement today saying that he never struck his wife, but she called the cops on him 20 times. Come on, man. Really? If your wife called the cops on you 20 times, you probably did hit her. Right. Let's cut the BS out of here. But anyway, that's one thing that stood out to me, man. Also, the second thing that stood out to me, and I don't know the kid's name. I forgot his name. Maybe somebody in the chat room will tell me. The kid from Ole Miss that tried to tackle Leonard Fournette and got blasted. I give you an E for effort. Leonard, I don't know what got into Leonard Fournette, and I didn't even see that LSU Ole Miss game, but Leonard Fournette was running like a man possessed. And if you haven't seen, I'm pretty sure you've seen the vines and the highlights, but he obliterated this kid. And I'm pretty sure for him, Monday film session was not a pleasurable event. But, those two things stood out to me, man. Two things that stood out to me over the weekend. I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. This is another weekly edition of Dead End Sports, the place for sports opinions. Clyde, I am your host, 12 Kyle, joined by my partners in crime, BZ430, FIFO, and my man Ken. Right now, we're going to jump to the NBA preview. So, as many of you know, the NBA tips off tonight. Tipped off just a few, maybe a little more than an hour ago. The Cleveland Cavaliers hoisted their new banner. As you all know, Cleveland, last time we talked basketball, Cleveland was the victorious winners of the NBA Finals, coming back from a 3-1 deficit led by your man LeBron James. But we're going to start out west. I guess the first question I have, and Ken, I'll start with you. Can anyone slow down the Warriors? We know that they picked up Kevin Durant, and it's rare that you have teams win 73 games and then, or you can make a case, get even better than what they were last year. But they add Kevin Durant, they lose Bogut, they lose Harrison Barnes. But they pick up Kevin Durant. You got three guys in Durant and Curry and Thompson who have the green light to shoot three-pointers from wherever they want. So, they're going to put up points. They already said that they're not trying to break any records this year. So, Ken, I'll start with you. Can anyone slow down the Warriors?
The interesting thing that I've noticed about the Warriors in the preseason is that it seems like they're turning this thing over to Kevin Durant.
Okay.
It seems like they're running the whole offense through him. He's getting most of the shots. Now, we know that, they share the ball better than anybody else in the league. And we expect that to continue. But that kind of shocked me. And Curry's still going to get his, of course. So I think they're going to be the two focal points. And the best thing about the Warriors, when I was listening to Draymond Green's interview with Bill Simmons, is that they really don't care who gets the success. And we all knew that. But it's always refreshing to kind of hear him say it. Like Clay really doesn't – Clay cares about his shots because he's a shooter, right? So, but Clay's just going to be there ready to shoot when you get it. So to run the offense through what appears to be Curry and Durant, it's going to be exciting and kind of fun to watch because we know what Draymond is, a Swiss Army knife, and Clay's just going to do what Clay does. I do think that they can be slowed down. I just don't know who can do it. Maybe Utah probably stand a chance with Gobert like in the middle, and they have Etzon's back, and although Hayward's hurt, so I think maybe them. They played the Warriors tough last year, and they're pretty much bringing back the same unit from last year as well. I'm not going to ever rule out Cleveland. LeBron James, we all know that he's just a special guy, man, and you always like his chances. I mean, it's a hell of an upgrade. You're replacing Barnes with Durant. That changes a lot in the finals if he's there taking those shots instead of Barnes. But I think they may have a shot at slowing them down because LeBron is just a special player. It's going to be tough. They'll probably blow through the league unless they just start resting players. And even then, I think they stand a good chance. I think when it comes to their bench, I think that may be the weakness for them. Although what is that guy's name?
I know you're talking about the kid that came off the bench last year.
Clark. Yeah, Ian Clark.
Ian Clark, yeah.
McCall, they like him a lot. They've been talking about Looney. So it may take them, some time to probably integrate into the rotation, into the system. But nevertheless, man, I think they'll continue to do what they do. And we all know it changes when you play a team 7 times in a series. And that's what we'll ultimately have to wait and see. I think day by day, night by night, game by game, it should be easy pickings. But we'll find out. They play the Spurs tonight. We'll see what they got.
Okay. What about you, B? Can anyone slow down the Warriors?
It's always going to be interesting seeing what the Spurs can do, even though they are, with Gasol a little up in age. It's always be interesting. Blazers always be interesting to see what the Blazers do because, Damian Lillard always seems to have his eye on the – he be on another mission when he's playing against Golden State every time.
B.
What up?
Hey, did you hear what he said? That he thinks he could be the MVP this year, the best player in the league?
Yeah. Hey, I love it. I love it, man. I love it. So always look at Portland, like I said, just because Dame Lillard seems to be like Curry's kryptonite at moments, at times, man, where he just give him the business. And a lot of people might say no on this, but I would probably say Oklahoma City Thunder just because of they're playing against how emotions get riled up and teams get when they playing against a former teammate, especially the way that Kevin Durant left and everything.
Right.
So I can definitely see, Oklahoma City being like some sort of a problem for them. I mean, but of course, like on paper, you're looking at it, you're like, well, they don't have a chance. But I can see Westbrook trying to rally them boys up to try to make sure they take it to Golden State every chance they get. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think those are squads that I'm looking at that can possibly, slow down Golden State or, do some sort of damage to them in a playoff series. I'm looking at it as far as, like, in a playoff series. Can't trust the Clippers. They always have, like, the worst. They have the worst luck ever, man. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know how fully healthy they're going to be come playoffs, because we saw what happened last time.
Right.
And I actually thought they had a shot of beating Golden State if it wasn't for Chris Paul going down, and yeah, it was just, because, Stephen Curry was still out. So, if Chris Paul would have been playing, they could have went up, a quick 2-1, 3-1 in the series. And then, that's when they had Stephen Curry back and they could have ran a table. But I don't know, man. Clippers is like, the Clippers, that whole organization just has a rush luck when it comes to playoff success. So, but yeah, them my squads, man. Portland, Oklahoma City Thunder, and you can never count Spurs out. Greg Pop gonna always try to come up with a good coaching scheme against them. But I don't know if Gasol can hang with them boys as far as running up and down the court, especially if they go small and bring that center. He'll run circles around old man Gasol. So yeah, that's what I got.
Hey, B, and FIFO, you can weigh in on this too while we're talking about the Warriors. Like, what did you think about Westbrook basically calling Kevin Durant soft with the cupcakes tweet? I don't know if you got a chance to read that story about Lee Jenkins, but he basically did a profile on Russell Westbrook, man, and it was very insightful about just his mindset, about why he re-upped with OKC, because he's just not a quitter. He's not a runner. You can actually understand why Kobe and Michael Jordan said the things that they said about him. And basically he was shocked that Kevin Durant basically ran. Like one of the things he said in it was like, just under his breath, like, to the team that beat us. And there's things you can say with just one sentence. You can say a lot with just saying one thing, right? One phrase. And then he tweeted out the cupcakes, and that apparently was a thing. So, I mean, is KD soft, man?
Maybe soft. I mean, he may be, man.
Yeah, look, man. I've had a lot of criticism. I think Kevin Durant has fallen so far under the radar in terms of the criticism that a superstar athlete should take when the game is most on the line. Like, he misses big shots, he misses big free throws, he makes bad decisions. Like, can you imagine it? The backlash LeBron would have got if he wouldn't have had one already, up in the conference finals, up 3-1 and lost.
Right.
The world would be over. You understand? So KD, I've always questioned it, and we saw it most recently in the Olympics.
Yep.
I think it's always an underlying question with KD. Does he have the chops to get over the hump? And obviously, he doesn't have enough chops to think he could do it on a squad that isn't necessarily a super team. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, he went to the best basketball situation. I knew that that's where he was going to go because it just made sense. It just made sense. But at the end of the day, man, like, it wasn't like OKC was chump change. It's not like you're playing like LeBron did early on in Cleveland.
Away from the finals, man. So yeah, I think he probably, because you going to the team that beat you. If Kevin Durant would have went to almost anyone else, I don't think it would be like, dang, you went to the squad that took you out when you was up 3-1, had a chance, and you didn't step up in Game 6 and Game 7 like you should have as a superstar, and then you tuck tail and run to the squad that beat you, that just won 73 games this previous year. So, yeah, man. And like I said, it ain't the fact that he left because he's a free agent. He can do whatever the heck he want to do. It's to who you went to. That's like if LeBron James in his Cleveland days, when he kept losing to Boston, joined Boston. Like if he had joined Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and them after they beat him, a few times in playoffs or regular season, that would have been like, damn. But, Miami was like kind of on their decline anyway. So, going to Miami didn't look that bad. Yeah, you teaming up with D Wade, who was still considered top 5 in the league at that time. So, yeah, but Miami they didn't win 73 games. They didn't win a championship, or they wasn't one game away from winning a repeating. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it's the way that Durant did it. That was a bad look. It wasn't.
Are we giving him a pass?
It seemed like the media is going.
You know what? I think there's
point,
there's to FIFO's point. There's when we've talked about it before. For whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe it's because he was in OKC. But no, Kevin Durant has gotten a lot. I don't want to say a pass, but he's gotten a lot less criticism that we would have given, and that's just on his play. I'm not even talking about his decision to leave OKC. But yeah, I think if you look at the totality of his play, because think about it like this. Just think for a second. When things went wrong in OKC, who was the first person we blamed?
Westbrook.
Every time. Russell's shooting too much. He's turning, Westbrook could go like 5 for 25. And KD could go like 6 for 21. We're going to blame Russell for taking too many shots. You know what I mean? That's what it's been. And it's going to be interesting because he's on a team now where even if it fails, and it doesn't look like it will, but if it does, He's still not going to get the brunt of the criticism because this thing was already set up. He's a piece to whatever missing puzzle that they wanted to add. So that's a good question, Ken. I just think we have given him a pass, honestly, and he has not. I'll put it like this, and part of it, and I know you can't really compare him and Carmelo, but people have been really, really critical of Carmelo and the fact that he hadn't taken his team as far as Durant has. But I mean, people are really, really brutal on Carmelo and not as much on KD.
Exactly, and think about it. We were brutal on Carmelo for not leaving a situation he felt that he could not win and going somewhere else. He stood for the money, right? And he had an opportunity to go to Chicago play with Joakim Noah and Derrick Rose more so in their primes than what they are right now. You know what I'm saying? And we gave him flack for that. And I think part of the main reason why KD is going to get a pass this year is because of his game and because of the situation that he went to. His personality and how he plays on the court can be demonstrative at times, but we have known or the perception is that was Russell Westbrook's team. KD just was another great player there, right? Like, because they went as Russ went, because he was the point guard and arguably a top 5 player in the entire planet. So with KD now having that type of game, right? Like, he had that type of game in OKC. Now he goes to a situation where basketball-wise, they run better. So it's going to be easier for him. It's not going to be on him to elevate that squad. How can you elevate a squad that won 73 games? We just want you to be part of the puzzle. I think that's part of the reason why he's getting this pass, because he's not as polarizing as he should be. He's not as dominant as he should be. He's not as demonstrative as he should be, and that's just KD. And you got to give him that, okay, that's just who you are. And I think because of the squad he's going to, any other team in the NBA outside of maybe San Antonio, he would have had to become something else to be a champion. KD being who he is fits Golden State. They're not going to require or ask him to do anything outside of what he has currently done.
I agree. I think and we've done this, and he's just been, for lack of a better term, kind of flying under, as easy or hard as it is to fly under the radar as being the superstar that he is. But that's a good question, Kim, man. It's going to be interesting to see, especially and I don't think that this team is going to cakewalk and win 74 games or anything like that. I think that they're going to, because they've already done all of that. I think they're going to try to see what they can do and pace themselves to get to the playoffs. And I don't think, and a lot of media, especially people who don't particularly care for basketball, they'll say, "Oh, well, it's just a two-team league." No, I think on a night-to-night basis, we're going to be able to get some good NBA on a night-to-night basis, and I think that's the thing that's going to have us keep coming back to watch. It's not just about the Cavs. It's not just about the Warriors. There's a lot of good players out there and a lot of good basketball to be seen. So we're definitely, as you guys know, we're definitely pumped up that the NBA is back.
Well, real quick.
Go ahead.
FIFO, who do you got, man? Who can slow him down?
I think out west, Portland, definitely. Everything that B said. Dame is one of the 3-point guards that have some type of kryptonite against Steph Curry. And they have enough firepower to kind of stifle Golden State at times. I don't think they have enough firepower. But definitely Portland I put up there. I'm going to put the Clippers just because they are rivals. Even though obviously Golden State has had the upper hand in that scenario. And then San Antonio. Because it's Greg Pop. You know what I'm saying? It's just like what's his name from New England, the head coach, Bill
Belichick.
Bill Belichick. You know what I'm saying? You don't go against them. You don't go against them. Whenever you do, they prove you wrong. And I'm gonna put a dark horse in there. I'm gonna put Minnesota. Minnesota was one of the few teams to beat them at home last year. Up and coming. Now they have arguably the best defensive coach in all of basketball. Going there, and they're just going to get better with, I think, Rookie of the Year candidate Chris Dunn. I think they're going to be way tougher, way tougher. So those are my 4 in the West. And then out East, there's only one squad, man. It's Cleveland. It's Cleveland. I don't think nobody else in the East could really do anything with that level of firepower that they got over there, man, in Golden State. Cleveland could definitely slow them down. It's the only thing is this. I think they added the right veteran in Mike Dunleavy because, you know, in a final series, all you need him, he's your new Mike Miller. Give me 1 or 2 good to great games. That's it. We don't need you all 7 games. 1 or 2 good games. That's it. And K Love just needs to play at an all-star level. He averaged half of his season average in the finals. He averaged 16.5 or 16.7 in the regular season. He averaged 8.5 in the finals. If he can get 16 to 18 points a game, couple that with a Mike Dunleavy addition, coupled with Kyrie doing what he does and LeBron doing what he does, that's the only team in the East that can really give Golden State some fits.
Yeah, I agree. I think obviously Cleveland in the East. I think Portland in the West probably could slow them down a little bit. I think the key to trying to slow Golden State down, and we talked about it even last year, is you can't get into. I mean, they're going to throw haymakers. I mean, they just are. But you can't try to get into a toe-to-toe battle with them. You got to try to slow the game down. I think back to prior to the series of them losing to the Cavs in the finals, the team that seemed to have had their number was the Clippers. Remember, the last team to beat them in a series prior to Cleveland beating them was the Clippers, and that was the Donald Sterling series. And, you know, these teams were 2 rivals, and they really didn't like each other. They, you know, borderline hated each other. And that's the last time we saw a healthy Clippers team versus a healthy Warriors team. And they beat them, you know, in a 7-game series. But now I just can't trust the Clippers. I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get out of the Clippers. And they look great on paper. You know, I mean, we got Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan. I mean, they got a solid bench. They got Doc Rivers, but you just don't know what's going to happen with the Clippers. So it's only a handful of teams that could probably slow them down. I think the key when you're playing against the Warriors, you just can't go. You can't go toe to toe with them. You got to figure out a way to slow the game down, make it a half-court game, and be able to survive their runs by not, you know, necessarily cowering, because they're gonna hit you in the mouth. You're gonna hit them once, they're gonna hit you 3 times. Can you survive the blows and then try not to, you know, falter? Moving on. Next question I have for you guys. Let's take it to the East. FIFO, is Boston the only hope in the Eastern Conference of stopping the Cavs from making it to a 3rd straight finals?
No. I think the East overall has gotten better. I think Boston is at the top of that list. But I think once New York figures it out, we know in the playoffs, rotations get shortened anyway. They don't have much depth. But that starting 5, I think once they figure out exactly what their identity is, I think they can probably push Cleveland. I think Toronto can push them 6 or 7 games again. They just match up personnel-wise with what Cleveland is trying to do with Kyle Lowry and Kyrie, with DeMar DeRozan and JR and or LeBron. And you have DeMarre Carroll for JR and or LeBron. And you have Patterson for K-Love. And, you know, K-Love just has to prove it. But there's a couple squads. I think Detroit as well, with the addition of Boban Marjanovic, if I said that correctly. You know, Stanley Johnson another year in. Caldwell Pope. You know, I like a lot what Detroit got going on over there. And realistically, I think that's maybe it. I think Chicago's going to be very interesting, mainly because we already know about Ken's best friend D-Wade. He's still a threat in the league. You know, Jimmy is arguably the second best 2-way star next to Klay Thompson, and Rondo, man, he's still one of the best pass first point guards in the NBA. So I think the Bulls, Toronto, and New York, once they figure it out, I think, and Boston obviously, can all give Cleveland a push. But come on, man, let's be honest. Cleveland is making it out the East.
No doubt, no doubt. What about you, Ken? Boston, man, are they the only hope in the Eastern Conference of stopping Cleveland from reaching their third straight finals?
No. I don't think anybody has a shot. I really don't. The addition of Horford is nice. You know, they have dogs on the perimeter defensively. They finally got a guy they can go to that can play, inside out. You know, he can hit the jumper, mid-range. He can score inside. So they have a piece that they needed. I just don't know if it will be like enough to match up with the Heat, because to do this year is he plans on unleashing Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, he wants to be a scorer only. Well, not only, but you guys kind of get what I'm saying. Like, he wants Kyrie to be the guy. He wants that to really transition to Kyrie's team. And can you imagine? We saw what the man can do in the finals. Can you imagine if they just let him loose? What are you going to do with that? And you got LeBron? So I don't see, like, what the teams FIFO named are interesting, and they'll pose their own challenges against them, as most teams will do on a night-in, night-out basis in the upper echelon of the East. But I don't see many other teams competing with them in the East like that. I just don't, man. It's just hard for me to find somebody. Like, I thought New York would be interesting, but then I saw their bench. And the bench just came in, and the Knicks just fell apart. But I do like Chicago, mainly because
Dwayne Wade.
Rondo. I like Rondo, man. When Boston was going through their run, man, he was one of my favorite guys, man. That dog in him that he likes, but he can be toxic to a team if it's not going well. But that combination of Rondo, Wade, and Jimmy Butler could be nice. But and they have other pieces around them that may work out. But you get into a 7-game series, I don't know if that'd be enough. You know, especially if Wade hold up, which he should. I mean, they'll manage his minutes, but and Wade is taking more threes this year. I'm curious to see how this works out for the remainder of the season. But nah, man, I think it's gonna really be like people said. One of the only ways the Cavs don't come out of the East is if something significant happens injury-wise, and it has to happen to LeBron. Because if LeBron is still standing and Kyrie or Love go down, they still should get to the East. That's just how good he really is. So, nah. Good luck with that.
Right. Exactly. Beasley, what about you, man? Anybody outside of Boston, do you think can stand in Cleveland's way at making it to the finals for the third straight year?
No. I think from the look of it, we're looking at a trilogy of Golden State versus Cavs final come June 2017. I actually think, I can predict this. I do think that I think the Pistons, we might lose to Cleveland again, but I think this time it will be in the second round and not the first round. I can see Pistons getting a 4 or 5 seed, advancing to the second round to play Cleveland and losing to Cleveland again in the second round. Probably in the 5-game, 6-game series this time. We probably won't get swept. But no one is gonna slow down Cleveland. No one's gonna beat Cleveland in the 7-game series in the East. I don't see no one in the East taking them out of, Boston might give them a little run for their money or whatever. And just when you think that Cleveland can get pushed to 7 games by somebody, they'll beat them in 5 games or whatever. So, it's no one in the East is gonna take them out. Right now, I'm predicting a trilogy of Golden State and Cavs right now. So, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think I like the Pacers. I'm not really familiar with the Pacers bench though. I'm familiar with their starters. I have to look it up. But I think Vogel's a good coach. I think they ran into some problems coming down the stretch last year.
Vogel's not there anymore. His name is.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Vogel. Yeah, I forgot they got him up out the paint. Damn. Okay, yeah. So Nate McMillan. I mean, he's a decent coach. Thanks, people. But I think the Pacers, they may have a shot. Still not sold on Toronto. I just, and then when you think about it, like Ken said, and I didn't even really think about it like that. But if you look at a 7-game series and you're gonna say Tyronn Lue is gonna say, Kyrie, go make it happen, you have to match that. And I just don't know that there's anybody that can match that or combat that. LeBron aside, if he just says, Kyrie, you go get it for us, I just don't know that in a 7-game series that you can have, or at least let's say 2 or 3 games of a 7-game series that you're going to have somebody that's going to stop that, or at least slow him down. Yeah, I like Boston. I like Indiana. I'm interested in the Knicks. I don't know what the Knicks have, like you said, as far as the bench is concerned. Ken, it's 1 game, man. It's 1 game.
No, nothing, Kyle.
Nothing. You're not going to beat them in a 7-game series.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm interested in seeing what the Knicks are going to beat. That's all I'm saying. I mean, especially with D Rose coming off. If many of you know, the civil case rape case was thrown out against him. So he's refreshed, if you will. Hopefully he can, beat.
Yeah, not going to
healthy this season. Chicago's interesting. But again, Ken mentioned health. That's probably the biggest concern, I think, in Chicago. D Wade is shooting threes, but his numbers will be limited as far as how many minutes he plays. Hawks ain't gonna do nothing. And that's about it, man. So I mean, like, the answer to the question is, I think it's Cleveland, maybe Boston, and then there's a drop off after that, talent wise. But it's going to be interesting. It's still, even though we can peg Cleveland and Golden State to be the 2 best teams in the league, I think it's still very compelling basketball to watch. We'll definitely be tuning in. Make sure that if you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe to our channel. If you're watching us live on YouTube, just click the subscribe button, and you can catch our show right here each and every Tuesday night. Thank you again for tuning in to the place where sports opinions collide. Now, we mentioned a little earlier some of the young guns out west. Very interested to get your take on this, Vifo. Which of the young teams out west, the Jazz or the Nuggets, do you think will make the most noise this season?
Minnesota, I think they are, unless the question is posed just to those 2 squads, or you're just opening it up to all young teams in the West.
All young teams in the West. I mean, but those 3 in particular, but I mean, just whatever young team that you think outside of those that could make it in the West. Make the most noise in the West, if you will.
Yeah, it's Minnesota because of the fit. I think Utah is supremely talented. I think that they need this year to acclimate Dante Exum to see what he's going to become in this league. I've been high on him. I think he's definitely going to be one of the better point guards when it's all said and done. But, Derek Favors just seems that he always just has more and more potential. But it's kind of like, are you just going to be a good big, or are you going to be an extremely dominant big? And he's transitioned from looking like a deer in the headlights to a pretty good big. But I still think he can become a dominant big. So we'll see if he takes a step closer toward that. Rudy Gobert has definitely taken a step up. Gordon Hayward is injured this year, so this is one of the first years that he is going to face adversity. When you look at what was the other squad that you named? Utah.
Utah, the T-Wolves, and Denver.
Denver. I like Denver. They still need more time. I still think that they're probably going to have to make some moves for all of their pieces to fit. I like the Lakers because I feel even though they're young, once their pieces get acclimated to NBA style basketball. Because Brandon Ingram, he can ball, but when I watched him, especially in preseason, he balled his ass off in summer league. But in preseason, for me, I could just see he was not ready for the athleticism of NBA guys. And that's just more of an adjustment thing than anything else. So I just think he needs to get adjusted, plus the experience of playing. I think by midseason, you're going to see the Lakers look even better. But hands down is Minnesota. Hands down is Minnesota because of it, because of where they are, how they've been groomed, how the organization really was trying to teach them to be professionals. And now it's a natural transition. They have a president, GM, and head coach now that he knows how to teach defense. Defense travels. That's going to get this young, athletic, and their best player is a defensive juggernaut, or I believe can be. That's going to bode well for them versus all of those other younger teams. They don't have an identity. Minnesota does. They know what they are. They're young guys. They know what their roles are already. I don't feel that they have to figure it out. The only thing they have to figure out is the NBA game. And trust me, playing for Tom Thibodeau, that's going to be accelerated. And playing in that West and having the experience of beating Golden State and Golden State. I'm telling you, Minnesota is the next up-and-coming team, man. That team right there is going to be scary. Maybe not that scary this year. I think you're going to see glimpses. But in the next 2 to 5 years, they are going to be one of the most dominant teams as long as everything stays together.
No doubt, no doubt. What about you, B? Of those 3 teams that we mentioned, who do you think is going to make like the most noise this season?
Completely agree with everything people said about Minnesota. I think Minnesota is definitely – I'm looking forward to seeing Minnesota, man. And I'm glad they have a Christmas game this year. They're going to be playing on Christmas Day. So I'm glad, the world can see this young, talented group of guys. And I hope they all stay healthy, too, so we can see all Wiggins, Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, Anthony Time. I hope we see all of them come Christmas Day. No one's injured. And we can. It's just a good way to showcase some new up and coming talent. Because I'm sick of them. I mean, I get it, but I'm sick of them broadcasting the same teams, night in and night out on TNT head to head and the ESPN games. It's like let's see some of these up and coming young talent, future talents in the league, man. We don't have to. We always don't have to see Cleveland games every Thursdays on TNT. I get it because it's viewing. You want to get people to watch your games,
right?
Watch the superstars. But man, come on, like they should have been showing. Minnesota should have had more than a few TNT games last year. You know what I'm saying? Like show Miami Heat with Winslow and all them. Charlotte, Kemba Walker. Show some of these young superstars, man. Detroit. We got with Drummond, where he was beasting last year on the boards, and Philadelphia. It's gonna be exciting seeing Okafor and Embiid and them playing. So it's just some more younger talent. But I completely mirror what FIFO said. I think Minnesota is definitely gonna be the most interesting team. I think one of the most exciting young teams to come out of the West. And like I said, he hit it right on. And FIFO said it. If that group of these young group core guys can stay together and mesh well, they already have a good coach in Tom Thibodeau. They're going to be one of the elite Western teams in 3 to 4 seasons easily.
No doubt, no doubt. What about you, Ken? The young guns out West, man. Who do you like making the most noise?
This is one of the reasons why I've been getting hyped for the NBA season. It's not because of the Warriors or Cleveland at all. We know what they're going to do. I'm more interested in what the other teams are going to do. And some of the talent that's come into the league from, last year's draft and the year before, I'm excited to see what these guys do. We get Embiid this year. We get to see Sharik, or hopefully Ben Simmons. I know I said his name wrong. Maybe Ben Simmons. I'm really, really excited. FIFO nailed it. B nailed it. I'm really excited about the Timberwolves, like a lot of people are, and like a lot of people should be. People should be excited about watching these guys grow up. And it's kind of like we finally get a chance to see Minnesota kind of get back to what it was like when we were growing up, when we had Starberry and KG.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When they were a good, dope-ass team. And they had stars, legit superstars. Man, I can't say his first name. Ding, who's going to play power forward. That dude fills up the stat sheet. I love Chris Dunn coming out of Providence. Yeah, I loved him. Just watching him play in the tournament last year. Yeah. And they're talking about trading Ricky Rubio, who's a talent himself, and that's going to open the door for him potentially. We already know about Zach LaVine. Carl Anthony Towns, man, come on, man. You guys know how I felt about him last year before going into the draft and when he was at Kentucky. And Andrew Wiggins, you guys know how I felt about him. I always said that the Cavs should have never traded him for Kevin Love. So I'm real high on this team, like a lot of other teams should be. When it comes to the Jazz, what I love about them is that they're not really real flashy to watch, but I like Derek Favors. I'm with FIFO. Like you see like potential oozing out of him, and you just want to see it kind of. First, you want to see him get the opportunity. I think he's finally gotten the opportunity, and he's shown that he can produce. But what are you going to be in the NBA? So it's going to be interesting to see him grow and develop. You guys know I like Gordon Hayward. He was on my top 5 small forwards. White boy can ball. I like Trey Lyles. And I don't know what Dante Exum is going to be. That's one of FIFO's guys. But I'm going to watch.
Rodney Hood. Don't gloss over Rodney Hood because Rodney Hood took major steps last year.
Oh, Rodney Hood played at Mississippi State. So, I like Rodney Hood. So he's on my list just to show him some love, man. And the last one, man, the Nuggets. The Nuggets, like, I'm interested to see what Jamal Murray does. I'm real curious about him because I don't know what he can be. All I know is he has a lot of upside. Is he going to be a scorer/shooter, or is he going to be a guy that does a little bit of it all? Because we've seen both. At least I've seen both in the preseason. So I really don't know what he's going to be. What will Moutier turn out to be? This year. So and then and the last one, Nurkic. I'm all in on Nurkic. Joseph Nurkic. I think he's going to have a hell of a year this year. And the last one that I'm going to say, the last guy that I'm most excited about this year, I'm going to shock y'all.
Oh, Lord.
D'Angelo Russell. I'm ready to.
It's no shock. It ain't no shock.
It's his show, man.
Also, too, hey, don't forget about old boy from Phoenix, Devin Booker.
Booker. That's really slept
that's
on.
Another one. Oh. That's another one. That's man. He
Clay 2.0.
He's forming to his own, man. He's forming into his own.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, man, you guys, I don't really have much to say. I think interesting. FIFO mentioned the Lakers first and foremost. I hadn't really thought, to be honest, I really hadn't thought much about the Lakers other than the fact that Kobe's gone. But I think that they will be an intriguing team to watch, if for nothing else, because they have a lot of young talent. And, what's the coach? Who's the coach of the Lakers? It's tip my tongue. Luke came from the Warriors. Luke Walton. I don't know why I wanted to call him Nick something. Luke Walton's coming over from the Warriors. So he's bringing that pedigree and everything. And this team is going to be up and down, but they're young and they're athletic. And I think they will be – they weren't of the teams that I mentioned. But I think when FIFO mentioned the Lakers, it just got me to thinking about, what they actually bring to the table. And it's going to be weird looking at a team without Kobe Bryant on it. But if you get a chance, for those of you watching us, whether or not you're watching us live or you watch this later, these teams that I mentioned, Jazz, the Nuggets, and the T-Wolves, these teams don't get a lot of TV time, but if you get a chance to check them out on TV, watch these games. These are some young players. I understand that the league is going to promote the Carmelos, the D Wades, the LeBrons, the Steph Currys, so forth and so on. I get that, and I understand why those guys are on every night. But these are some of the this Minnesota team that I really, truly believe that they have enough to make the playoffs in the West. And I think that this is the year that they take that step forward. This team, if they can keep it together and they can stay healthy, they will be downright scary in a few years because they have the talent. They've got some interchangeable pieces. They may add a piece or move, like you mentioned, they may move Rubio. But this team, we haven't seen a lot of them. I didn't know until B just mentioned it that they have a Christmas Day game, which I think is perfect because the rest of the country needs to see these teams. And again, you don't get a chance unless you have league pass. You probably don't see them as much. But I'm really, really looking forward to watching this team play. And there's a buzz in the Twin Cities that they haven't had in a while when it comes to the T-Wolves. And they're very, very excited about this young nucleus. The Jazz, I caught a little bit of a preseason game the other night with the Jazz. I had no idea that Ski Master Joe Johnson was on that team. And he's still jacking them up. But, I mean, it's another contract for Joe. But that's a very young athletic team. People, you mentioned that Hayward is out. I knew Hayward was out. How long is he out for those of us listening and watching?
I'm not 100% sure, to tell you the truth. I just know he's out for a little while.
Okay.
I think this is going to be the longest period that he's going to be gone due to injury.
Okay.
But I'm not. I don't know how many weeks or months or anything.
Okay.
It was like 4 to 6 weeks, and it happened during preseason, so maybe about middle of November. I think
that's cool. That's cool. Okay, yeah. So, like I said, man, if you watching this. Check it out. Check these teams out. These are some young, and this is as the superstars that we currently have in the game, the Carmelos, the LeBrons, and those guys get older. You're looking at some of the new younger stars. And I'm pretty sure we're mentioning some of the guys that you probably never heard of on a night-to-night basis. If you get a chance to check them out, check them out. And I guess that's the basis of what I want to say. Like, we know what we feel. We feel like we're looking at the two best teams that'll probably end up in the finals. But trust me, as someone who grew up in the 80s and saw the Celtics and the Lakers go to the finals every year, there was a lot of great basketball in between the Celtics and the Lakers going to the finals. So even though it may be somewhat of a foregone conclusion, if you get a chance to check these teams out, please do so. You trust me, you will not be disappointed. Next question, I'll throw this out to you first, B. OKC, man. Obviously, they lose Durant. They add a couple of pieces, man. How do they move forward from losing Kevin Durant? Or can they move forward without losing Kevin Durant?
I think they'd be all right. I think this is definitely going to open the door for Russell Westbrook to have a monster, possibly MVP season. Because I think he's just going to explode and go off. I wouldn't be surprised if Russell averaged 28-8 or 27-8 this year. Shooting percentage, I think that might be a little low because he's going to take a lot of shots. But yeah, I think OKC will be okay. They'll still be probably one of the top 4 squads in the West. Once it's all said and done. I mean, granted they don't get any injuries, but yeah, I think they can move on from this. I think Russell Westbrook is going to make sure that these guys move on from this. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's going to let this hinder him that much. Or if not, he's not going to show that this is hindering him. You know what I'm saying? So just the competitive and the feistiness that Russell Westbrook have, I definitely think he's coming out for blood, especially when they play against Golden State. But I think this all season, Russell he's going to smell blood. He's going to be in full attack mode this season. And yeah, it's going to be a crazy thing to watch. But yeah, I think OKC, to answer the question, I think OKC will be fine. They'll get through this with no problem.
No doubt, no doubt. What about you, Ken? How does OKC move forward?
Easy, man. I mean, that's one of the benefits that you have when you have when you have 2 guys, and when you have the guy that everybody's saying is the alpha dog, and that was Russell Westbrook. And when you have Kobe Bryant, and Michael Jordan speaking about him in that way in an NBA in which, we all on this show and others have talked about being like soft and not having that competitive spirit and drive. This is what we want to see. And I think they're going to be fine because you build around Westbrook. You know what he can do, and you just add to what he already has. And I think some of the pieces that they have now fit. You have Oladipo, who can help with the scoring load. You have Cantor, who's going to just soak up all of the rebounds from some of the missed shots that Russell missed down low. They got Sabonis, who I think is a nice young talent who may start. He's going to probably see anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. Steven Adams. So I think they'll be fine, man. What I love about OKC now, after reading that piece about him, is can you become like that Jordan, right? Because remember when I criticized him for putting up the vanity numbers, the triple doubles without the W?
Oh, it wasn't criticism. It was hate.
But
hey,
what is that
for those of you listening, we were getting texts every morning. Your man went for a triple-double last night, but they still lost.
What if that was a growing process, right? Him learning how to play on a team without Kevin Durant, and now it's his team. A guy that's not afraid of a challenge. A guy that welcomes the challenge. A guy that hates losing but loves to come back so he can win. That's the type of guy that we have in Russell Westbrook. The last time we really saw that was Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. If you really think about it, they had that drive. Now, can he, and this is what I want to see, take that to the next level and translate that into wins? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm most interested in seeing with Russell Westbrook this year. I think they'll be fine. But can he take all of that, in the intangibles that he has, and translate that into success for the organization? He's going to put up numbers, but the numbers are only worth so much if you're losing. And can he win? And look, this is going to be a hell of a season just to watch and see how he grow and develop from here. I'm excited.
No doubt. I agree 100%. What about you, FIFO? Moving forward, man, what do you think?
Ken hit on a lot of great points. He was hating that year when Russ was down. Because the way that team was constructed was for Russ and KD to do what they do. When you take one of those two out of that, it is extremely difficult for them to maintain that type of winning environment. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of whatever Russell Westbrook does. So it wasn't empty in my regard, because if he didn't even do that, they would have got blown out every single one of those games. So you had to give him the props. But in terms of what he does this season, he's just going to take that fervor and veracity that he has for the game that we see him take out on other point guards is going to be even more. Because he always played with a big chip on his shoulder. Now this is a boulder compared to whatever he has had. People hating Russell Westbrook, the entire time that he's been in OKC. I think this is the turning point. I think this is that opposite or negative reaction to KD's move. Now I believe Russell Westbrook is beloved. Now Russell Westbrook is a hero. Now Russell Westbrook is the savior. And for KD to make that type of decision, it's okay for the OKC organization because you still have a prominent top 5 player to build around. It makes the transition easier. And Sam Presti being the GM he is, I still think top 3 GM in the NBA, he made that move or these moves before KD got there. So we kind of knew what that squad was going to be with and or without KD. With KD, phenomenal, even better than what they were. Without KD, well, at least it's not going to be that bad, and you guys should still be a playoff team. Now, the difference is going to be how much further can Russell Westbrook evolve his game. I've always said the things that hold him back are poise and decision-making in the critical times because he's a point guard. Based off of what I've seen so far in preseason, again, I don't put too much stock, but he has been deferring more because I think he understands, hey, these guys need to get off, and I can do whatever I need to do whenever I need to do it. So I think it's gonna be good for the maturation of Russell Westbrook and for him to be able to incite and get other free agents happy or intrigued about signing with OKC. Because if Russell comes out here, he's jacking 30 to 35 shots every game, I could tell you now, free agents aren't going to want to go there. But if sometimes he does that because that is part of his game, but if he becomes that point guard, I can defer, I can switch up my game for the benefit of the team. If he's able to get that this year, man, look, OKC's going to be in a really good place. And again, to Ken's point, Sabonis is legit. He is probably going to be a fringe all-star in the next 3 to 5 years.
No doubt, no doubt. What about you, B? How do you think this goes for OKC, man? How do they rebound with Westbrook?
Didn't you ask me this already?
Did I ask you that?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Okay. Man, I'm sitting here trying to make sure this battery don't die. Yeah, I agree, man. I think everybody made some great points. I think it's going to be interesting. I think the thing that stands out to me, I think if Westbrook doesn't have a situation where he gets frustrated to the point where he can't, kind of keep everything together on, let's say, a losing streak. Let's say they lose 4 or 5 on a West Coast trip or something like that, and he's getting frustrated with his teammates and what have you, where he doesn't take it out on them, if you will. He's going to shoulder a lot of the responsibility, as he should, as a superstar should. But I think it's going to be a great year for him, man. I mean, I think there's probably a level of comfort, feeling like he doesn't make it. And we talked about it, off air as far as via text. I think I'm not going to sit here and say that they were best of friends or best buddies or boys or anything like that. I think that they worked well together. But I don't know if necessarily they were as cool as they led everybody to believe that they were. And I think KD's decision to leave, not his decision to leave, but how he went about leaving and Russell's subsequent responses, that kind of tells me that, they weren't that cool to begin with, and they really ain't cool now. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I mean, I think, should they meet each other in the playoffs? I mean, Golden State is a better team, but, Westbrook is he's got something to prove. And I think when Russell Westbrook plays with that chip on his shoulder, man, I think it's beneficial for all of us, really, to watch. So that's going to be interesting to see how. Thank you. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. If you're following at home and you're watching us live right now, the World Series is going on. Game 1, top of the 7th. Cleveland Indians are up 3-0 on the Chicago Cubs. So, yeah, it ain't looking too good for the Cubs so far, but still a lot of time left. Still talking NBA. Got my boys FIFO, Ken, and B in the building with me. We are the place for sports opinions, Clyde. We are Dead End Sports. So let's start with our predictions, man. FIFO, who do you think is going to lead the NBA in scoring?
Man, who's going to lead the NBA in scoring in 2017? That's a damn good question. I think it's not going to be – man, if I had to just choose one person, I'm probably going to say Carmelo. But the other person, my dark horse – it's not really a dark horse, but probably – okay, you know what? I'm going to pick them over Carmelo. I'm gonna pick Dame Lillard over Carmelo, mainly because Dame is a proven scorer. I think he's going to get even more responsibility this year to be the team's best player. And I think he wants that challenge. I think he wants to start setting himself apart from the other great point guards in the league, man, because there's so many of them, and I feel like he continuously gets overlooked for all-star teams, for the USA team. I think that this is the year he takes it out on the league, and he's probably going to be the leading scorer.
What about you, Cam?
You know what? I like that one. But just to switch it up a little bit for the show, man, James Harden. James Harden in that offense with D'Antoni, it's going to be wide open. It's going to be wide open. And I don't think his scoring will come down as much because, he wants him to facilitate a little bit more, but I don't think it's going to come down that much. I think James Harden is he just loves to shoot, man. So I'm going to go with James. I'm going to go with James. But I like Lillard. Lillard was on my mind, but I'm going to switch it up, man. I'm going to give y'all something different, somebody different.
What about you, B? Who will lead the NBA in scoring?
That was actually my pick too, Ken. You took my player, but yeah, I was actually gonna go with James Harden. I do think he might lead the league in scoring. And then Dame Lillard was a good pick, FIFO. I think Russell Westbrook. I just think Russell Westbrook gonna just in kill mode, man. But yeah, but originally, my pick is James Harden. I do think James Harden might lead the league in scoring. And, people who's watching, we're not saying that he's gonna be the best player or like, yeah.
Right. We said strictly leading the league in scoring.
Most points per game. That's it. That's all. I think James Harden is gonna lead the league in scoring.
Yeah, B, I had it actually reversed. I had Westbrook and then Harden, but I think it'll probably come down between the two. I could definitely see that happening. And I forgot. And for those of you watching, that, with the changes in in Houston, Harden's always had the green light, but he really got the green light.
Oh, yeah.
He really has a green light. MVP. Ken, who do you think will win the MVP?
Wow. So I don't think you can give it to a Warrior, right? I think they did last year, so they may. A lot of people like LeBron, a lot of the experts, but if that's going to be Kyrie's team, I don't think it'll go to him. So therefore, I'm going to go with Kyrie, man. I think Kyrie is going to take a big step forward this year. I think he, like Lillard, like B was saying about Lillard, man, or FIFO was saying about Lillard, I think he wants to be recognized and talked about like the Currys and the Westbrooks of the world. And for Lou and LeBron to give him that torch coming off the finals where he destroyed the MVP. Come on, man. I think he wants it. So I think Kyrie's going to be the MVP this year.
Okay. What about you, B? MVP.
Westbrook.
Got to win, B.
Huh?
You got to win games, dog.
OKC gonna win games?
But I don't think they're gonna have enough for him to be MVP. They're gonna win, but they're just not enough. I don't think they're a top 4 team in the West. You got to be a top 4 team to be MVP candidate.
I think OKC can possibly be a top 4 because at least you got Golden State, you got Spurs, Clippers, and who else? Yeah, they could possibly be a top 4 squad. It's possible.
It's possible. I don't think they are. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't give it to Russ.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Russ.
I hear you, B. What about you, FIFO? Who do you think will win the MVP?
I think this is going to be one of the tightest races. I think that in essence it's still LeBron's team, but I think Kyrie takes a major step forward. I think he'll be in the running and discussion. I think Dame Lillard's going to be in the discussion. So is Russ. I don't think Russ is going to have enough wins. But I'm gonna go with the dark horse of my picks. I think it's going to be
KD.
Paul George. I think it's going to be Paul George. I think that they finished
Paul George.
I think that they're going to finish with a way better record than most people are anticipating. I think they finish second or third in the East. I think they push a lot of teams that people didn't think that they could push. And I think Paul George's numbers are going to be even better than what they have been. I think this is probably going to be one of his best seasons, mainly because the team around him is the best fit around him since he's been in Indiana. I think that they've had other good teams, defensive first-minded teams, but this squad right here I think is going to help inflate Paul George's numbers, and I think that they are going to get enough wins in the East to influence one. Then, like I said, he's my dark horse pick, but I'm gonna roll with Paul George.
So Jeff Teague, Monte. So you don't think Monte Ellis are hurt him at all?
Nah, because young Monte, yes. This Monte, Monte knows his limitations. He knows
Right.
he is in the league.
Does he?
He does.
All right.
If you look, since he played in Dallas, since his first year in Dallas, his efficiency numbers have gone up every year. He's playing the most efficient basketball of his career now in the second or third stage of his career. Because like I always say, players, they get smarter. Not all of them, some of them. But Monte is one of those guys that I think he's starting to understand what his limitations are. Jeff Teague helped Paul George.
Yeah, to help.
Yeah, Paul George has never played in the NBA with a point guard like Jeff Teague. That's going to help him. Miles Turner getting into that starting lineup, being a stretch five, being a low post presence, being a mid-range guy, pick and roll basketball type of guy is going to also help Paul George. Thaddeus Young is going to help Paul George in a sense that makes
That's a good pickup too.
quicker. It also allows them to switch in pick and rolls, which will sometimes allow Paul George to help from weak sides and get more steals. Be a little bit more of that free safety on defense and not always having to just lock down one guy. I think because of that movement defensively, his numbers are just going to be, I think, overall the best of his career.
All right. I like Paul George. That's my dog right there.
You didn't like him like 2-3 years ago.
I didn't like Indiana. They were cocky, arrogant, and they didn't improve anything.
I feel you.
I'm actually gonna say LeBron, man. I'm gonna go out on the limb and say LeBron.
Oh.
I think.
What kind of limb is that?
I know, right?
I mean, as far as I'm talking about, as far as the four of us. I think like, even though I know that they're gonna, feature Kyrie a lot, but I think there's gonna come a stretch where, and it seems to be. I mean, we've seen LeBron do this every single year. There seems to be a stretch post All-Star game where the team's just whatever team he's on, whether it's been the Heat or Cleveland, where they needed just somebody just to pick them up. And these last couple of years, man, I mean, we've seen LeBron do that. I think it was last year where the year before where he took like 2 weeks off just to rest, and he went to Miami and all kind of stuff. He was hanging out with Ken here in Atlanta. I mean. So I think when LeBron hits that, and then he's going to guard that push, if you will I think propel him towards MVP status. It's going to be interesting. And shout out to our boy Q, the sixth man, and he's in the chat room. He threw somebody's name out there who we have not mentioned tonight. Real quick before we move on to the next topic, Anthony Davis. FIFA, I'll kick it to you, man. We did a video. I think you named Anthony Davis like the top player under 25.
Yep, sure did.
What do you think it will be for Anthony Davis this year? We know he's coming off injury. That team subsequently, it seemed like everybody was hurt last year with the Pelicans. What do you think's going to happen with Anthony Davis this year?
Honestly, I don't know. Here's the thing with Anthony Davis. When healthy, he is a top 5 talent in the NBA. When healthy, where he is now, not even reaching his ceiling, he's one of the best basketball players in the league. So the only question is, how healthy can he be? If he's healthy, he's great. If he's not, he ain't playing. So in the great words of Stephen A. Smith, the best ability is availability, and he hasn't been available. So, to answer that question, man, it's almost like you baiting me to say that he is going to be whack or this, that, and the third. Look, Anthony Davis is great when healthy. I don't know if this guy is going to be healthy. I really don't. So I can't really answer that question. If he's out there on the court, he's going to produce. He's going to be 2010. His PER is going to be at historic levels. He just can't be made of glass. I don't want to call him Sam Bradford, but he's looking like Sam Bradford, man. That's what he's looking like.
Well,
okay.
See, that's why I said give me Cousins over Davis, but
but you know what? Look, I'll take his Kentucky brethren. I'll take Cat over Boogie right now.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I will. I probably would too. I think he can get to Boogie's level and probably beyond. I like Anthony Davis. I think this will be a bounce back year, even though he got hurt in preseason, which caused me to pause. But I gotta see Davis take that leap. Because I think when everybody was on the Anthony Davis hype train, I think it was like the what's his name? Andrew Luck hype train a couple of years.
Oh, my gosh.
Even though I'm still on that because I think Andrew Luck is
I've gotten off that train.
No, I think he's a talent.
I'm off that narcotic.
It's the organization, man. It's not him. But I think that Anthony Davis, just like FIFO said, he has to stay healthy. And right now, that's limiting him from where he can go. So I'm hoping he bounced back this year. I think the league is much more interesting when he is playing than when he's not. But he needs to take that team not just to the playoffs, but past the first round. He needs to be a leader of that team, and he needs to show that he's really, really extremely valuable to them more than he kind of have in the past. For me.
Okay. B, what about you? Thoughts on Anthony Davis, man?
Yeah, it's unfortunately he's kind of getting the injury bug right now. Hopefully he can kind of get over that so he can prove why he is, like FIFO said, top 5 talent in the NBA easily once healthy. So I hope he doesn't go down that Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway lane. Hope he doesn't. He's a big guy. So sometimes when you're bigger in size, sometimes you can take a toll on your body with those injuries. Let's just hope in this case they're not, especially after the huge contract he just got from
right.
Pretty much saying, hey, we're gonna pay you these amount of dollars. You are a guy. We're gonna ride with you. So let's hope that investment pays off. I hope it does, and I hope Anthony Davis still proves me right that he is one of the top players in the league. So, it is unfortunate, but let's just pray for the best. Hopefully, and he seems like a good dude, so let's hopefully he can stay healthy and show folks around the world that he is that elite player that he can be. Because he should be MVP candidate at this time without, if injuries was slowing him down, he could be one of the guys we're saying, oh, he's going to be up for MVP. You know what I'm saying? But let's just see how he can bounce back and stay off that injury, that IL.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be key because, this is, a difficult, I don't want to say a difficult time, but I mean, it's a time of transition. And like I said, we've gone through the whole show and we've barely even mentioned him or his team, and not really a lot of people are going to be checking for him. But I think it's not a make or break year, but when you look at the money that was given to him and the team and the players that they're surrounding him with, I just want him, like Ken said, I want him to be healthy. I think if we can get a healthy Anthony Davis, we'll be okay. I think that's the key thing. And hopefully he does not rush back. I haven't seen him, any during the preseason. Hopefully he does not rush back from that injury because that could be devastating down the road. Dark horses. Ken, give us your dark horse team in the East and the dark horse team in the West.
Okay, shoot. Let me pull up the standings here. Let me look at this. Darkest team to do what? Make the playoffs?
I mean, just a team I think that you would deem a dark horse that you think is going to come out of nowhere and make things happen.
East. Bucks fell off last year. They may be one. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Magic, man.
Okay.
Magic.
Oh, no.
He said dark horse.
Look. He ain't say the impossible team.
That's the impossible horse.
The Bucks, the Magic. I'm looking at teams that didn't make the playoffs. Maybe I can't even. After what I saw with the Knicks, the Wizards didn't make the playoffs, but that seems kind of obvious. It damn sure ain't gonna be the Nets.
No. That's Charlotte. You could throw Charlotte out there.
People, who you got for dark horse?
Playoffs last year, though.
Huh?
But they were in the playoffs last year.
Barely.
Your dark horse doesn't necessarily have to be a team that didn't make the playoffs. I mean, like a team that's going to kind of sneak up on people and surprise some people.
Mm-hmm. I think in the East, it's going to be Milwaukee because they have all of that and talent. This is, Giannis just signed for a big time deal, so I think he's out there to prove he's worth the money. Jabari, last year was his first healthy season. I think he wants to prove that he's worthy of the number 2 pick.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Middleton is hurt, but, I think they have enough talent to overcome that. Thon Maker, somebody I've been super high on for the last years. If anybody,
you've been talking about Thon Maker forever.
Yes. So I think they're going to be the dark horse. I think they beat a couple teams that they're not supposed to, and make the playoffs and probably get a little bit further than what they're supposed to.
Hey, I think my boy gonna show y'all he can play, man. Matthew Delly gonna transform the Bucks into a contender.
Man, I really thought I was done with the Delly talk when he left Cleveland. I really did. I just knew Delly's name would never come up again in any conversation we ever had.
No, he's back. Delly's back. I'm cool with the Bucks. They were the first team I named. I was the criteria. I was trying to figure out. For the West, though, there's a lot of more teams I like in the West, man.
Okay, run it.
Yeah, I love, of course, I really want to see what the Rockets do last year. They were up and down last year. I think D'Antoni is going to have them boys running. They still don't play defense, but we already talked about the Timberwolves. I want to see the Suns, man. This Devin Booker kid, I really just want to watch him play because I think
they're a dark horse, though, Ken.
Huh?
Are we talking dark horse or just people you like?
Oh, well.
You on topic now.
I am. Okay, give me the Pelicans. Because I think Buddy Hield is going to help that team out a lot.
Forgot about Buddy.
Especially when they get Drew Holiday back. I think Terrence Jones, is he? Yeah, is going to help out a lot, especially if Anthony Davis get hurt. So I like them to kind of return back to form. I think the Grizzlies will kind of get back to where they were. And yeah, I still kind of like the Suns, man. I still kind of like the Suns. And you guys know how I feel about DeMarcus Cousins.
Right.
In the East, to add to it, and I've been saying it, the Hawks are going to be better than what we're anticipating.
Hey, I'll take your word for it.
They are. They're going to be better than what we think. Not saying that they're going to make noise, but they're definitely a dark horse. In the West, man, I think it's going to be Portland. I think that they just take a big jump, man. I think another jump with Dame Lillard. I think CJ takes another big jump. I think a person that was underrated to their success last year was Al-Farouq Amino, with him being a consistent jump shooter, with him being able to make plays with and without the ball. and also to be able to provide that perimeter defense on those bigger wing players, a la KD, LeBron James of the world, man. Al Farouk is a major key to what they do, and they bolstered that squad with adding Evan Turner, another guy that is a Swiss Army knife, can play 2 through 4 in the right situation, and Portland is that type of situation for them. So I think that they are definitely a dark horse. Minnesota, another squad I talked about earlier tonight. I just think that with Tom Thibodeau, they have an established identity. I don't even need to watch them play. They are going to be a top 5, top 10 defensive unit. That travels, that bodes well. And in all honesty, I think that's it, mainly because the West is either you're potentially contending or you're rebuilding. Like you just have a lot of young talent. And for me, it's harder with some of those other squads to say that they're going to be a dark horse. Sacramento, I like them boys, but that over there is just a mess.
A hot mess.
Yeah, organizationally, they're just a mess. So I don't see how they can overcome that. I think DeMarcus is probably going to lead the league in techs, mainly because of the frustration. They're just not a good team. They're just not a good team, and DeMarcus is way too good to be on that team. But yeah, man, those are my dark horses. I got Minnesota and Portland in the West, and I got Atlanta and Milwaukee in the East.
And not only that, FIFA, you got DeMarcus Cousins and Matt Barnes on the same team.
On the same squad.
Oh, Lord. Hey, trouble.
You know what? Back to Portland, man. Like I see what you're saying. I don't know if McCollum can take another leap. And I really think if that team is gonna make that leap that you think they can, it can't be them too. Like I think it will have to be like guys like Plumlee. Can Myers Leonard come back and contribute? What about Noah Vonleh? What is he? Is he ever going to get a shot? Is he good enough? What is he? So I think while Terry Stotts did a great job, I think he needs to definitely coach up the other pieces, because that was the problem they ran into in the playoffs against the Warriors. Yeah, Aminu was balling, but what the hell was Harkless doing at times? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So everybody else kind of need to come in and help out, and I think that's will help take them to the next level.
Yeah, agreed, but you also have to look at the major steps that a player like Alan Crabb took last year. So they had help in other places. I do agree that their weakest spot is in their front court in terms of their 4-5 position. I think that they need a more reliable asset offensively at one of those two positions. Athletically and defensively, they compete. They can't get buckets from them with the back facing the basket, not face up, because all of their bigs are face up bigs. They don't have a back to the basket big. But I don't think that is what necessarily hurts them from making another step forward. I think it's Dame, because this team goes as Dame and CJ go. And I think that CJ takes another big step. Dame, being on the trajectory he's going to take another step. We just don't know how big. But if those two guys take big steps again, and Aminu is able to maintain the level that he played at last year, if not take another step forward, I think that this team is going to be a hard team to knock out. I think that they can beat the Clippers. I think that they can beat San Antonio. So who does that leave? That leaves Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. That's why they're a dark horse. But I think also in free agency, this is a team that DeMarcus or not. Is DeMarcus a free agent?
I think he's got another year. I think.
Either this upcoming season or the year after. But either way, if I'm a 4 or 5 man, if I'm a Blake Griffin, if I'm one of these guys that's going to be a free agent, I am looking at Portland, because I'm like, look, outside of the Splash Brothers, where else can I go and get this level of guard play? So if I'm a 4-5 man, that's what I'm looking to in terms of Portland next year.
Okay.
What about you, B? Dark horse teams in the East and the West.
In the East, I think I'm surprised Kenan says I think Chicago might make a little run. I think old man Wade might have some left in the tank to prove in his hometown in Chicago, and I think they might be a dark horse. And my dark horse in the West is pretty much the toss up between Phoenix Suns and Minnesota Timberwolves. I think y'all already mentioned Minnesota Timberwolves, but yeah, Phoenix and Minnesota are my dark horses in the West. But yeah, East, I would go Chicago. I think Chicago would be a dark horse. I think we'll definitely see a few little 2006 flashes of D Wade sprinkled throughout this season. And I think Chicago can make a little run. I don't know where they might see that or anything like that, but I'm just saying I think they can just do better than what people anticipate them to do. So with Rondo and Butler, and all those guys play defense. You know what I'm saying? Like all those guys, all three of them, are committed on the defensive side of the ball, which would be interesting too to see, if that team all together can be a pretty good team defensive squad. A good team defense. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. But I think the Bulls might be like a dark horse out of there, where people be like, What you say, Ken?
Yeah, they traded for Michael Carter Williams too.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I think Bulls can be a dark horse out there in the East, man. So I mean, the Central in the East is tough anyway, because you got Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit, Pacers, Bucks. I think all five of those teams, they're gonna bring it. They're gonna be fighting. It's gonna be like who's fighting for second, because we all kind of know that Cleveland's gonna be the Central leaders, but yeah, it's like who's gonna be fighting for that second place out of all those squads. So it's gonna be interesting.
Right. All right, man. Well, we pretty much completed the entire NBA preview. If you have not done so already, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dead End Sports. Make sure that you follow us on all the socials. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we are there. Before we get out of here, got to hit you with some one gotta go. Of course, these are not the thoughts of myself. These are from my homie, my man Eclectic. You can follow him at Eclectic with a K, or you can follow him at one gotta go. What's up?
Can we do the players that we're most interested in seeing this year?
Oh, I thought we pretty much had done that. Anybody? Yeah. What players? Go ahead, Ken. Any players that you're interested in seeing this year?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Kyle. Nah, man. Like, I definitely want to see what Jabari Parker does again this year.
Yes.
That dude. I want to see what Stanley Johnson does this year. He'll have a chance to play, so I'm really curious to see him. Embiid, man, I can't wait to see Embiid take real action this year, man, because I think this dude is going to be an absolute monster.
Try to tell y'all.
Yeah, you did, man, but yeah, you did. I'll give it to you. You called it. Like I said, Buddy Hield, Jamal Murray, everybody on the Timberwolves. But and my boy D'Angelo Russell, man. D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, I definitely want to see him get back into the fold of things. Because I don't know, man. I just got a feeling that whatever he went through last year, I think he's taken all – I think it helped him mature. And I think he probably walked into the NBA thinking he was going to be this big shot. And, in stretches here and there, he was kind of humble. And I think he's sort of using that as motivation. So him and Julius Randle, and definitely Brandon Ingram, because I was real high on him as well. So those are the guys that I'm looking forward to seeing this year.
What about you, B? Players that you're most interested in seeing this upcoming season?
Damn, I don't even know. Well, I guess because I mentioned him earlier, it was Devin Booker.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
You said why?
Yeah.
I just think. Well, personally, I had him on my fantasy squad last year. So I was paying attention to him a lot because he was on my fantasy squad. So like watching him play, like I think FIFO said it, Klay Thompson 2.0, and I just, he got another year under his belt. I think this is about to be his third season. So, another year under his belt. I think he just, it's just like one of those players. I think he's going to get better and better and better. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But, I mean, I really don't follow players. Y'all know I follow my Pistons, man. So, it's like,
right.
I just want to see what my Pistons going to do. I like watching players and stuff like that. That's cool and all, but I'm just concerned with what my Pistons going to do, man. That's all I'm concerned about.
No doubt, no doubt. What about you, FIFO?
Definitely looking forward to see if Ben Simmons plays this year. Been high on Ben Simmons. We even debated, should he be number one pick? I think off of the little bit that we've seen, I don't think that there's a question. He is definitely the number one pick. Everybody else can shut all that up. Just let him get back on the court. Definitely want to see Joel Embiid because I've been on this guy before he even went to Kansas. Another one, just like Thon Maker, I've been talking about him for years on this program. I definitely want to see him with Devin Booker because I didn't think he was going to be that nice coming out of Kentucky. Then he proved me wrong. And then once he really got some time, I'm like, oh, man, this guy's going to be crazy. Then he went crazy in a couple games last year. In preseason, he's been pretty solid. So I definitely want to see his maturation because I think he's going to be Klay 2.0, and I think he's going to be better than Klay Thompson. You heard it here first. And let me see, who else do I really want to see? I'm gonna throw some love, man, because I've always gave this guy love. I want to see D Rose, man. I want to see D Rose be successful in New York. If y'all watching us, hopefully y'all was watching the game too. Because I know I was while doing the show, and just seeing D Rose last year, he has spurts of having some of that athleticism back. He don't got the same vertical, but that first step is still pretty serious. And you saw it tonight. He can still get to the basket. And that's really the one thing from the surgeries that he needs to be able to retain to still play at a high level is that first step and the ability to get to that basket, make decisions, and finish. So I like what I saw, man. And I just want him to be able to redeem himself in New York because, it was just unfortunate, the circumstances in Chicago and the injury history.
No doubt, no doubt. It's I think for me, Ken's kind of stole my thunder. Jabari Parker, I'm looking to see, what he's done, his growth and maturation process. He's developed a lot off the court, and I've been very impressed with what he's done socially. Mm-hmm. But I'm interested to see how that translates as well, as he has a more a deeper growth outside as a man and as a human being, and see how much of that translates to the basketball court. Really, really interested in seeing the kids from Minnesota, man. Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns. I think that team and that young nucleus, I'm really interested in seeing those guys and see how they develop. And it's always good, man, when you see players, make that, when you can literally see them take that step up from year 1 to year 2 to year 2 to year 3 and so forth and so on. But yeah, those are pretty much the players that I'm looking forward to seeing. Embiid as well. You guys mentioned Embiid. I don't know what to make of Embiid. We've seen him, and I had to think about, like, when's the last time I've seen him do? But look, just the brief glimpses that I saw of him in the preseason, man, if he can stay healthy, it's going to be scary. Now, what he's going to do on that garbage team, I don't know. But but just Embiid individually, man, kid's going to be a monster. It's going to be a monster. Hopefully he can stay healthy.
And Kawhi Leonard.
Okay.
Can he take that next step? Yeah, man. I mean,
fellas, we are looking at a NBA that does not have a Kobe Bryant on the Lakers, Kevin Garnett, and Tim Duncan on the Spurs. I mean, so this is uncharted territory from a superstar perspective. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next generation of guys come along. As I mentioned,
Warriors losing.
Yeah, I just saw that. It's early though. It's what, second quarter?
I mean,
yeah, I mean, you know, it'll make a run.
It's only 15. Got to have this team down by almost 40.
Right. In the World Series, let me pull up the score here. Where's the score? I can't find the score. Anyway, I'll get the score before we get out of here. One got to go before we get out of here. As I mentioned, these are from the mind of Eclectic. You can follow them at Eclectic or at one. The number one got to go. I'll give you guys a couple before we get out of here. Music. No. You know what? Let's go to basketball. One got to go. NBA, FIFO, Spurs, Raptors, Celtics, or the Clippers. One got to go. Spurs, Raptors, Celtics, or Clippers. Who has to go?
You said 2 or 1?
No, just one got to go. Just one.
Okay, I'm gonna say the Raptors, man. They don't belong in the same class as those other squads.
Okay. B, Spurs, Raptors, Celtics, and Clippers. One got to go.
Raptors. Bye-bye.
Ken, what about you?
I mean, yeah, the Raptors, man. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm a complete the set, man. Raptors, get it. Raptors got to kick rocks, man. Got to kick rocks. Not sold on them at all. Hip-hop song. Ken. Can't Deny It. Fabulous. Clips Grinding. MOP, Ante Up. Or Izzo by Jay-Z. One got to go. Fabulous. Can't Deny It. Clips Grinding. MOP, Ante Up. Or Jay-Z's H to the Izzo.
Bye, Fabulous. I'm already telling my
Ken, who's got to go? B, already chime in.
Yeah, Fab, holla, Fab.
FIFO?
Yeah, Fabulous.
Yeah. I don't really want to do it, man, because I love Fab, but yeah, Fab got to go. All right, NBA, FIFO, one got to go. Evan Fournier, Andrew Wiggins, the aforementioned C.J. McCollum, and Delvin Booker. One got to go.
Delvin, but who he play for?
Suns.
You said Delvin. That's why. It's Devin.
Devin. I'm sorry. Devin.
I'm gonna get rid of Evan Fournier because he's the only one out of that group that doesn't have superstar potential.
Okay. What about you, B? Evan Fournier, Andrew Wiggins, C.J. McCollum, or Devin Booker?
Yeah, what people said. What's his name?
Evan Fournier.
Yeah, him.
Ken?
It's between McCollum and Fournier.
Okay.
I've seen more of McCollum than Fournier.
Hey, get out of here, Ken. McCollum, look. Don't be making stuff more difficult than what it is. McCollum, less than Fournier, is already averaging more points than Fournier. Fournier, come on, Ken.
Man.
Come on, Ken.
All right, Fournier.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, man, that is hilarious. Yeah, Fournier got to go, man. That was funny. All right, man. Food. Red Robin. Macaroni Grill. Olive Garden or Red Lobster. Red Robin, Macaroni Grill, Olive Garden, or Red Lobster.
I thought we did this last week.
Shit.
Nope, we didn't do this one last week.
To be honest with you, I never had the first two you named, Red Robin and what's the other one?
Macaroni Grill. What?
So I'm gonna have to say Olive Garden just because my mother used to love that restaurant and I hated that restaurant.
What?
Yep.
Oh, B, come on, man. Okay. FIFO, what about you, man? Red Robin, by the way, B, Red Robin's is known for their gourmet burgers. Red Robin, Macaroni Grill, Olive Garden, or Red Lobster?
Yeah, like B, I never ate at the first two.
What?
Yeah.
Listen out.
So I'm gonna have to get rid of Red Robin just because I don't know what they do.
Okay. Ken, what about you?
I haven't eaten at Red Robin.
Damn. I guess I'm the only one.
Isn't that a South Carolina thing, though?
No. I think they're more up north and Midwest, I think. Yeah, I've never seen them. They could be in South Carolina. I've never seen them before.
Olive Garden. I'm with B.
Okay. All right.
My mother loved that. She used to love her some Olive Garden.
What?
I hate it.
Hey, so here's what I would do, right? I would go to Olive Garden and eat get the salad.
Oh, they got the bomb
salad, right? So I would order my food and let my food sit there and eat all the salad and soup. Because you get the unlimited salad regardless. It's complimentary.
Yep.
So what you need to do, listen, everybody, what you need to do is order the soup as your side. Don't take the salad because they're going to bring it any damn way. So you have the soup, you have a salad, and, of course, you have the bread. And the soup's unlimited, too. So you have the best of both worlds.
There you go. How to Get Over by Ken. All right, let's go. I got two more. NBA. Ken. Carmelo. Kevin Durant. Kawhi Leonard. Or Paul George. One got to go. Carmelo.
Wow.
Kevin Durant. Kawhi Leonard. Or Paul George.
So Paul George is my dude. Kawhi's my dude. It's between Durant and Melo. Melo has a dog in him, man, that Durant don't have. But Durant's talent is just Bob Melo.
I was about to say, man, you filibustering there. FIFO, Melo, KD, Kawhi, or Paul George.
Peace out, Melo, man.
BZ 430.
Bye, Melo, man.
Yeah, I got to get Melo up. And it's not my distaste or disdain for the Knicks. Got to get Melo up out of the paint, man. Got to get him out of the paint. All right, last one. We're going to take it to an R&B album. See how much. You guys know hip-hop. Let's see if you know a little R&B. Last one. Jill Scott's debut album, Who is Jill Scott? FIFO. One of these songs has to go. Love Rain with Mos Def, Getting in the Way, A Long Walk, or The Way.
You know, honestly, just pick any one of them.
You don't know. You got to get this album, man. This album is a classic.
Just pick any one of them.
Wow.
BZ 430. Love Rain with Mos Def, Getting in the Way, A Long Walk, or The Way.
Man,
that's tough, man. It's tough.
This is tough.
The joint with Mos Def is hard, man.
Man, this is tough. That's so wrong.
I know, right?
All right, so while I be thinking about it, Love Rain with Most got to go.
I'm gonna get rid of The Way. I love that song, but
I saw her perform that live, man. That shit was amazing.
Oh, for real? And that, you know what? That's one of the few artists.
Song like 2 times more, man. When I saw her.
What, man? I've never seen Jill perform live. I gotta see her perform live. Seriously, every time she comes to Atlanta, I always miss her.
I saw her in Miami, and I saw her here.
Damn. Yeah, I'm next tour. I'm there. I'm in the front row for real.
Damn.
So which one you getting rid of, B? Love Rain with Mos Def, Getting in the Way, A Long Walk, or The Way?
Oh shit, man! It's because I seen her perform these joints. I would probably have to go with the Mos Def joint only because I never seen her perform it live. But those other 3 joints, she performed those shits live, and it made me love the songs 20 times better, man.
All right, so you hear that, Joe Scott? B needs you to perform it most definitely for you to love it, for him to love your songs. Hey, man, once again, that's going to do it for us, man. That's the NBA wrap-up. Man, got to thank everybody for tuning in, as I mentioned at the top. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dead End Sports. Make sure that you follow us on all socials. We are here each and every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to do it for this week. So for Beezy, for Ken, for FIFO, I'm your host, Swab Kyle. I'll let you next week. Peace.
Peace.